This is Kaleidoscope, presented by Cameron Video Productions.
Hello, and welcome to Kaleidoscope. I'm Sarah Cameron. Coming up, recognize this name? We revisit a young guest who's drumming his way into the music industry. He's 18 years old now and a senior in high school, but when we first met Alex Shoemaker in 2018, this Punxsutawney kid was only in his early teens, already incredible at playing drums and getting noticed from big names in the music industry. Now that he's about to graduate, we wanted to see what he's been up to since our visit. So we start with a young Alex. 10 years, 20 years, do you still want to be playing drums and playing with the big bands?
Yes, I do. And if I never make it in music, I'll never stop going.
You're always going to love music.
Yeah, I'm always going to love music no matter what.
Seven years later, Alex Shoemaker, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. What have you been up to now? This is 7 years since we talked, and you were a lot smaller and getting into everything and starting everything off with drums and guitar. How's that going? Still into all this stuff? I mean, by the room, you certainly haven't slowed down.
Yeah, we've expanded a little bit, to say the least. Got a few more guitars now, added a piano or two, and then got a new drum set as well. So yeah, I've just been doing a lot of stuff. I'm in a band right now, kind of have my own thing going, trying to write some songs and get an album out here soon. I've been saying for a few years that I'm going to get an album out, but you know, it's just been a work in progress because I'm still in high school, you know, so I have all that, have all those activities, you know, outside, you know, whatever. But yeah, just trying to find the right things to do, you know, just to prepare me, you know, to move on later to see where that goes. But yeah, just doing a lot right now.
You're 18 years old, senior now. So you mentioned the drum set here. Tell us about this drum set. This isn't any ordinary drum set.
Okay, so
it's very, I mean, there's a lot to this. There's a lot.
Yeah, sometimes I think about it like, wow, like there's a little too much there. But
Who's it from?
Dean Castronova from Journey. Like I mentioned in the interview before, whole reason I started playing music was because of Journey. You know, went and got a DVD of them playing, saw Dean playing, fell in love with it. Dean and I have been really close for years. Dean actually was getting rid of that, and he played with it through Journey Through Time. So they did it like a small side thing with Journey. And so my grandma was actually looking at that, and I had no idea. My grandma and my parents lucked out, and I lucked out too. But you know, just I had no words whenever I first saw it. And even sitting here playing it, I'm just like, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in sometimes, but I love it though. It's great, yeah.
So it's a big focal point and highlight to this music room that you and your parents have put together now since we were last here talking with you. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't really see a lot of the stuff behind the scenes, like of putting everything on the wall, because I would come in time and time and there'd be some other stuff, but I was just waiting. I couldn't wait till it got done. You know, we're still adding stuff on, like we don't even really have enough room for, you know, getting a few guitars and stuff. You know, we have a wall over there, you know, and then my keyboards are off to the side too.
What are some of your highlights in here that you'll look at and go, oh yeah, I love that one. Oh, I remembered that, and this was a really great time?
It's kind of crazy because I mean, I have, you know, just to name a few, I have all my Jason Aldean stuff over here, my Jackal. Big one is Firehouse. Jackal's the biggest one too. My Winona Judd, Parmalee. I know there's Jefferson Starship, Florida Georgia Line, you know, a lot of other stuff over here, but I have a lot of smaller things too, because it's kind of just highlights from the time I was like at least 5 or 6 years old up until now.
Sure.
You know, we still have other shadow boxes and things.
Oh, yeah.
Because I keep expanding and meeting newer people or newer groups too, and making new memories and getting a part, you know, to be a part of other opportunities. So, I mean, the ones the most are kind of just the biggest, the ones that have had the biggest impact on me, you know. But I mean, looking back at this wall, Foreigner and Journey, I mean, growing up, those were probably two of my biggest and most favorite bands, you know, and they had the biggest impact on me, and along with Styx too.
Yeah. Who have you been able to do that with since we met the first time?
I got to meet up with Toto. Toto was pretty cool. They were coming out after the show. I saw them last year. They were playing in Pittsburgh, and I was kind of starstruck by that. I actually got to take some lessons with Todd Streckerman. I just took a lesson with Rich Redmond from Jason Aldean a little bit ago.
When we met, you were getting into the social media scene with your videos and everything else, and that's how you were really growing yourself and getting seen by all these bands. How's that going for you now? Is that increased? Is that, where are you at with that?
It's going pretty well. At times, it'll shift a little bit. You know, I'm not really doing my Sunday videos as much anymore because I'm doing shows on Saturday nights, so we'll just upload something from that, you know.
I took my love, I took it down.
And then doing my own solo stuff, you know, it's a little bit different than me doing my drum videos, but, you know, I kind of want to turn it on to people as something different, you know, because it's a change for me. I want it to be a change for my fans to get used to, you know, because it is a little bit different with me singing. We did a side-by-side comparison of my Sweet Child O' Mine video from whenever I was 8 or 10. I can't remember how old I was. I know I was younger.
I saw that one. Yeah.
But so that's been blowing up on TikTok and Instagram right now.
Yeah.
So I've had some major reposts with that. And then that Outfield video that I did whenever I was 8, we did a side-by-side, and people have been sharing that for the last 10 years, you know. And I got a YouTube plaque as well over there. I reached 100,000 subscribers. So the next goal is to try and get the gold play button. But yeah, just trying to find different ways to network and get things out there, you know, and I'm gonna try and find better content, you know, especially with my own solo stuff.
Well, but you're also dealing with, like, you know, I said before, 18, senior in high school, and what comes with that. So you've done sports.
Yeah.
You're doing school, playing, and band. I don't know how do you manage this all?
Now it's not as bad. I'm involved in a lot of other extracurricular activities. Like, you know, we do a variety show, so I start practices for that. You know, basketball is ending. So baseball, you know, we have baseball 1 or 2 nights a week, and, you know, I have to have time to hit the gym. I'll go to the gym for like an hour, but it's honestly a lot more later now. Like, I'll come home and play drums or guitar at like 10 o'clock till midnight or 1 o'clock, you know. My parents gotta go to bed, get up, go to work, you know. And I gotta go to school half the time, but I'm like, it doesn't bother me.
What do you think all of this and all of these people have, and all these experiences now you've had before 18, what do you think it's all taught you?
Well, a lot of them say the same thing. You know, they're like I said before, don't get ahead of yourself, stay humble. The amount of people who've beat it into my ear, stay humble, you know, because that's the name of the game, because you can't go into certain places thinking that you're the guy. You know, I've heard so many stories about people thinking they had it, you know, whatever, and then next thing you know, like, you can't really take anything for granted either.
Yeah.
But you can't step too far. You know, you have to stay true to yourself, like I said.
Good advice from the pros. As Alex mentions, he's in a band now called Fuse. More about them and where you can see him play coming up later in the show. We're revisiting Alex Shoemaker in this episode. He's the young Punxsutawney drummer who was on our show years ago. Now he's ready to graduate high school, but his music career is already well underway. Our conversation with Alex continues. You're also a teenager who's in school and everything that comes with that. So outside of everything on this wall and what this entails, what's going on with you now? What have you been able to do with it? You were telling me about your band. I know you've added singing to all this as well.
Yeah.
And you're still in your guitars and your bass. So what are you doing? Where have you been performing? What's up?
So I'm in a band now. We're called Fuse. I started playing with them a little bit, like, you know, just sitting in whenever I was like 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
Known the lead singer for a long time and played on and off with them through the years. And then around last year, I was actually playing another show with another band filling in, and they were calling me, asking me if I can come play for them. You know, with scheduling or whatever, I really couldn't go at the time. And then last year, they were calling me, you know, they wanted me to be their drummer. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I hadn't been in a band for a while, and, you know, I've been jamming on the side, and I've been doing some of my own acoustic shows, but I was really excited. I wanted to get out there, you know, just because there's a lot more new opportunities, new venues to play at. But so we started in January of last year. It was whenever we played our first show. Playing all over the area, and, you know, now we're expanding, going to bigger places, playing bigger venues. From where we were at last year to now is pretty crazy to me, just how far we've come as a group, you know. A lot of shows booked till the end of 2025. And then I have that, and then I have my acoustic shows. My guitar player, Brett Mulholland, he's 20. He does my acoustic shows with me.
Okay.
So we go out, you know, wherever I play, he's with me. And if it wouldn't be for him, too, I mean, he has a lot. Like, he's the backbone. You know, incredible guitar player, like he could play anything.
Okay.
Just the guys in the band, too, like our connection, Rick and Nick, Nick George and Rick Hartman. If it wouldn't be for Rick, Rick books a lot of the shows. You know, he's always on it. He is behind everything. But I have my acoustic shows, but I'm actually trying to get my own thing going with a band behind me, where I'm out front singing and playing guitar, writing my own songs. You know, like I said, I wanted to get an album out, but it's kind of just, you know, I've been in between people and trying to find some collabs maybe to do, you know, but I write all the time. Yeah, just try and, you know, do some stuff on the side. I mean, Fuse is my biggest focus right now. I mean, we have some shows for a little bit, but not until mid-March, kind of, is whenever we kick back off, and then summer's going to be pretty packed.
Yeah, so where do you normally play then? Where can people see you?
The band is based out of Johnstown area, like so like Evansburg, Nanny Glow. But we'll play anywhere from, we play in Ligonier on Saturday. We'll play anywhere from Ligonier to Everett, PA. We'll play some shows here in Punxsutawney. We'll go to Indiana area too, so.
You graduate this year.
Yeah.
So I asked you last time, where do you see yourself in? What's next now?
Well, once I graduate, I'm definitely gonna try and hit stuff a lot harder, get into more projects, you know? I mean, because I'm graduating this year, so 2025 is the whole way. It's pretty much booked the whole way till the end. So we're already trying to find things for 2026, and I'm like, you know, we're just starting out here now. It's February, and we're looking at February of next year. Playing in the areas, too, everybody goes through it, because I have so many great friends who are local musicians who go through the same thing. Like, it's cool, because you're on your own, like, mini tour in a way. You know, you're rush, you know, you play shows, you get to meet new people, you know, get through new things and new venues and make new memories. But probably by the time I'm 21 or 22, I want to try and move somewhere, you know, just expand. Most likely Nashville, that's 95% where I would like to go. I always say to myself, wherever God wants me to go, because He'll path His way there, you know. Wherever He wants me to go and whatever He has said for me, then that's what's going to happen. You know, and it's hard to tell, who knows, but it'll come. But even if, you know, long way down the road, if I'm not in the 100% into music, I'm still gonna have it. That's something that I'm always gonna be into.
Maybe we'll see you again in another 7 to 10 years, what do you think?
I guess, we'll see where we go from there, I don't know.
Always a pleasure to see Alex and his wonderful parents who've worked so hard behind the scenes to support him. Good luck, Alex. We'll keep an eye on you.